Good morning, Huskies. Welcome to NIU Weather. As spring comes around, I'm sure we are all waiting for better weather. However, with the new warm fronts, more severe weather is possible. Now, what is a tornado? How do they develop? How do they impact us economically and environmentally? How our technological advances has helped us track and take precautions on them as well. Today on NIU News, we will tell you all about it.
A tornado, or supercell, is a persistent updraft, also known as a mesocycle. This is the strongest form of a tornado and also the most common within the United States, particularly Tornado Alley. A partial vacuum exists in the center of every tornado. Supercell tornadoes that have low precipitation are called low precipitation cells, or LP, while high precipitation are called HP supercells. There are other common characteristics that go along with tornadoes, such as flooding. Most tornadoes are short-lived, that is usually at the front of the tornado. There are other various types of tornadoes other than the typical ones we see, such as cyclones, waterspouts, dust storms, and hurricanes. Cyclones are very similar to tornadoes and can stretch from 500 to 1,000 miles apart. The thunderstorms usually accompanying these storms, a waterspout usually forms when the tornado is carried toward water, and vice versa. These are usually about 100 feet tall or less. Dust devils are smaller, as it develops over superheated air, and since heat rises, it causes the spin of a dust devil. A hurricane can also be seen as a tornado, as a vortex is spinning in the middle, but then the rest of the storm forms around it. Hollywood loves to play with weather, as some of the best summer blockbusters are based on extremely unrealistic weather. Even though the supercells can range in speeds between 65 to 500 miles per hour, they are hardly able to pick up an entire house or large animals, such as cows or sharks. And there is not enough power for 4 or 5 tornadoes to happen at the same time. However, realistic tornadoes do cause a lot of damage to the environment around us.
Cow. I gotta go, Julia. We got cows. Another cow.
Actually, I think that was the same one. Damn it, we got drunkards here. We got no path.
This is not good. Get us out.
However, realistic tornadoes cause a lot of damage to the environment. Here is Irma with environmental issues.
The damage inflicted on the environment cannot be ignored. There is a growing theory that tornadoes play a part in climate change due to the dust and debris that the tornado themselves leave behind and pollute our air. And it could affect more than just our air, but other parts of our environment as well. These factors could contribute to climate changes and global warming, which we've seen a spike in during the last few recent years. Another large effect that tornadoes have directly on our environment is when looking at our forests. Due to how much damage a tornado can bring by the strong winds, a lot of forestry can be wiped out because of this. On top of that, as we've already learned how a large tornado can actually be, these supercells can take out giant areas of our environment with no way to protect them. This leads to not only destruction to nature, but for the living things that call those places their natural homes. This is mostly due to the winds that come during the course of the tornado. Sometimes during the course of these severe storms, in the more dry parts of America, the lightning from around them can cause forest fires to start, which can continue to hurt the environment long after the initial storm ends. These are all factors that we have to be thinking about, especially with the spring and summer season coming upon us.
Wow, how very interesting. And now, we move on to Tristan.
I'll be talking about the economical impacts that a tornado causes. Now, how does this affect the economy? This can actually come in a positive and negative way. After a tornado goes through a town, there is obvious rebuilding that must take place. There is a positive impact for the construction and material industries while recovery takes place. However, the amount of money lost when these damages take place is massive. Some tornadoes can cause up to $1 billion in damage, as the one that occurred on September 3, 2006, and the supercell outbreak on March 4, 1974, which caused $3.5 billion in damage. These are just some examples at how much money can be lost at the hand of a single tornado. When these tornadoes hit small communities, it can be pure devastation. In Moore, Oklahoma in 2013, the tornado killed 24 people, injured 212, and damaged over 4,250 structures in the town. This causes stress on employment, job growth, and the budgets that the cities have for themselves to put towards whatever recovery plan they may need. In 2011 alone, there were 1,625 tornadoes. This caused about $25 billion worth of damage that communities and towns had to come up with to recover. These tragic events take years to be able to fully rebuild, and with many people struggling to have enough money for insurance, these storms can cause permanent loss for them. It is argued that engineers should be finding new ways of building structures to be able to withstand the conditions of a tornado, to prevent such mass amounts of damage from happening. The Joplin tornado was the deadliest tornado since 1947, which hit in 2011, killing 161 people, destroying 7,500 homes and 500 businesses. The recovery seems endless, as even today the business industry in that town is struggling from lack of income from the loss of jobs. These are all just examples of how one tragic weather incident can cause years of recovery.
Wow. And I thought my college tuition cost a lot. And now, let's switch over to Josie.
There is a lot of things about storms that are unpredictable, like one coming in the middle of the winter, which is something that none of us would expect.
Yet, one of the most destructive tornadoes hit Memphis, causing many fatalities simply because there is a certain point where weather is still a mystery. An outbreak of tornadoes through the southwest United States was scrutinized by Pablo Said University, noticing that the swarm of supercells was caused by smoke. Dust particles had swept into the area, changing the environment. Even though we understand the basics of predicting what a tornado will do, there are still a lot of mysteries simply because our environments are also changing. Not only is the cause of these storms unpredictable, but media channels also have a tendency to not give legitimate facts when gathering information about predictability, and they also generalize what is happening.
Fascinating. And now we'll switch over to Autumn. Now, Autumn, what can you tell us about the technological advances in tracking tornadoes?
It seems almost impossible for people to be able to track such massive weather events, but the beginning of technology began in the late 1800s through observation through the Air Force.
As the early 1900s started, they developed weather balloons, airplanes, and kites to better understand weather. Now technology is far more advanced, yet still changing. Over the past few years, scientists have been able to collect data to be able to create 3- and 4-dimensional analysis to be able to better understand what common environments bring the tornadoes. Their biggest goal is to be able to have all the information that their radar brings in a condensed form, in a timely manner before delivering to the meteorologist. Scientists in Japan have recently put out 2 new tracking systems specialized to condense information called Phased Array Radar and Ku-band Broadband Radar. The work they've received has been successful in condensing, but the rate in which information is received is too slow for more localized use. Even though this technology seems incredible and like it can predict anything, it's still an ever-developing area, as recent studies of these supercells through the Appalachian area have shown that there is still a mystery to these forces of nature. In 2002, there was a clear shift in the region, tornadoes occurring in a strange pattern that was not understood yet. This just shows that although we are able to give warning for common local severe weather, our climates are forever changing. Climate change could be affecting the way we have to prepare for the common tornadoes and how we must adapt to these new ways. Thank you for watching NIU News. Watch out for flying cows and sharks.